one of the most surprising one of the most surprising things I have seen in Africa this year is the amazing president of Senegal, President Faye. So now when he was contesting for elections, a lot of people were saying, yes, the Pan African is yes, he's going to break away from colonization and colonizers like Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Yes, they were championing because of the rhetoric that was coming out of Senegal at that time, not just from him also, but from also from is it is it on Osako, that's the prime minister, I forgot his name, which is the original um opposition leader. All of them were saying these things. Well, it's been very funny because it's been very funny because President Fire has not really done what a lot of people thought he was going to do. So recently, he then said that he's not looking to. We were talking about French military bases in Niger, in Senegal. So he said he's not looking to abruptly cut off ties with France and end the whole thing. I'm paraphrasing now, but end the whole thing on a bad note and all of that. So he's looking to break away, like deal with the military base issue calmly. Hey, after he said that, hey, I did not have it in my in my bingo card that they were going to call the president of Senegal a Western puppet. A lot of people have said he's a Western puppet. He is holding ties with France, blah blah blah, and they have. Oh my god, they're so upset with him. They're so upset with him. Well, I want to say something about that. I actually support him. Yes, I know that because Africa has experienced centuries of exploitation and ill treatment. So right now we are tense. In fact, just anybody who has been bad to us, go. We want to cut off ties with everybody. The idea, particularly within the Pan African group, is cut off ties with the West, embrace the East. I'm not of that opinion. I'm of the opinion of work with everybody. Work with everybody. They said no because the West has been exploiting Africa for decades, and that's the only thing they know how to do is to exploit Africa. They took Africa for slavery. They take our resources. Blah 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 blah. Okay, but the solution to that is not to completely cut off ties and focus on only one place. The solution to that is to make yourself strong because when you're strong, nobody can exploit you. Nobody can exploit you. So if you think it's about dumping the West and embracing the East, because which is true, the East does not have any history and has not shown any signs of colonizing or exploiting Africa, I accept. Yes, but who told you down the road things will not change? So I'm of the opinion of work with everybody, but work with everybody from a position of strength. That is why I say we need to build ourselves first, because nobody will take you seriously on the global stage if you are not strong. Forget like I've said it in several episodes of the Amanda Show. They will say human rights and everybody's equal. No, when you watch out the things this whole foreign policy something is played, this whole geopolitics is played, you find out that is not true. It's a battle of the strongest. That's the truth. So Africa needs to become from a position of strength. But as we are doing that, even when we do that, we still need to work with everybody because politics is not about closing doors. Politics, like they say, there's no permanent friend, there's no permanent foe. Politics is not about closing doors. So I agree with President Faye. You want to close French military bases in Senegal? Fine. Because at the end of the day, the military base has not executed the purpose for which it was set up. It was supposed to fix security issues, has not really fixed it. So if they're looking to remove, if maybe it's not just about security, maybe it's just to take out the military bases entirely because they do not want external players to be dealing and getting involved with the internal politics and internal dynamics of Senegal. I still support that. It's fine. But it's not about saying, get out now. It's not about fighting France. Have a conversation with them. In fact, that's one of the things that I was really happy about Niger. Because when Niger was kicking out the French, they didn't initially kick out the Americans. No. Go and look at if you follow the whole thing, the way the whole thing played out, it wasn't about the Americans. It was about France go. Do you understand? And they had the reason they asked France to go. France go and France left. But the Americans were allowed to stay until certain things happened, and the Americans were now telling them who to work with and who not to work with. I think there was a time that they said Americans were telling them not to work with Iran and blah blah blah. They were like, no, you cannot control our policy. Said we don't have an issue with you, but if you keep, so the reason why they even told United States to leave was because US was meddling with their policy and trying to tell them who to be friends with and who not to be friends with, and who to work with and who not to work with. That was the issue with Nigeria and United States. Initially, it was with France. So I'm advocating for that same thing in Senegal. You want France, the French military to go, fine, that's good. Sit down with Macron and tell him. Sit down with Macron so that they would live amicably, right? It's not just about burning bridges and saying, no, we are not going to be friends with the West again. US and France and you, Britain and everybody and EU go and friends with only the Chinese and the Russians. That's not how to play geopolitics. In fact, if you take such a hard line, it will not work in your disadvantage. Because see this thing of um great power politics, see the way it works, is being neutral. That's the way it works, is be unless it directly affects you. If it doesn't directly affect you, don't take don't take don't take part. Don't say this is my friend, this is not my friend. Don't play it like that. Work with everybody. In fact, Africa, because we are still building ourselves to a place of strength and we're still working on Africa, we even need to open our options of partners. Am I a fan of the of France policy in Africa? No, I'm not. But that doesn't mean you completely cut off ties. Burkina Faso had a reason they did that. Mali had a reason they did that. Niger had a reason they did that. But in the case of Senegal, the French have not given them such a really. You can push back against it if you don't think I'm right. But to the best of my knowledge, the French has not given them overwhelming reason based on what's coming out from this government to completely cut off ties with France. They want because you may want the French military base to go, but you still want to sell goods to France. So if you now cut off relations in such a way that is so terrible, how can you then sell goods to France? You may argue and say we'll sell to other people, yes, but the more customers you have for your goods, the better for you. Especially as Africa is still trying to build itself. So yes, it's like today, it's like in this episode of the Amanda Show, I'm just saying things that people will say, no, no, I don't agree with you. And it's fine, you can push back. Let me know in the comment section. You can push back. But I'm saying that it's in Senegal's interest to leave the door open and calmly ask France to leave. France will leave. If I tell you, hey, okay, let me give you two instances. If I say, you get out of my house now, I start punching you and beating you and everything, okay, you would leave. But you may not, you will remember the way I harassed you. In fact, you may even decide to take vengeance. What if I sit you down calmly, quietly, and said, well, we've been friends for a very long time, but right now I think that in this area, this area, this area, this is not benefiting, this relationship is not benefiting me. So please leave. You will still leave, but you're less likely to want to retaliate because I did not embarrass you that much. That's what I'm saying. You should not embarrass fans too much. Fans I've seen a lot of embarrassment. Yes, you may not like what I'm saying, but I'm telling you. So it's in Senegal's interest to get the military base out, but get it out calmly. Get it out calmly. The issue will now be if what's his name? President Faye begins to get new military external military base because we have an issue with external military base completely in a country. But I support removing the French military base from Senegal. But I'm advocating, just like the president, take it out calmly. Because Africa, we don't need to play this is my side, this is my side. Let's work with everybody. In fact, a good example of working with everybody is India. You see, India is part of the AUKUS. That's America, Australia, UK, US, something. And everybody knows that it's called AUKUS, right? Yes, AUK, US. Everybody knows that it is set up against China. India is a part of it. India is still a part of BRICS, which is a Russian and Chinese led group. India is still a part of BRICS. And this is India that is already becoming a great power. So it's not like India is like what like the third or the fourth biggest economy in the world. Do you get where I'm coming from? So it's not as if India is such in it's in a such is in a completely terrible position that because so what I'm saying is India Even as it is becoming, it's not yet a great power, but it's becoming a great power. India, with its big economy, India with its population, India is a dominable, is an impressive force on the global stage. Even at that, India knows the importance of working with everybody. Until it now becomes, until you get into a situation where it's directly, the policy is directly against you, aha, then you can take side and decide you're taking the side for your own country. So you're not taking side with this person to fight this person. No, you're fighting for the interests of your country. Do you understand? So in the case of Senegal, it's not a bad idea. I'm advocating that Africa, we don't need to take, no, we don't need to take sides. It's not about taking sides with US. Oh, I'm pro US, like what Ruto was trying to do, and Ruto decided to be a non-aligned a non-NATO ally of the United States. What are you doing, Kenya? So work with everybody. Don't completely take sides. Don't pitch your tent in one group, because once you pitch your tent in one side, you have automatically set up yourself against the other side. It's not in the interest of any African country, because we're all trying to build ourselves. Not like what Ruto did in Kenya, that he decided to be a non-NATO ally of the United States, effectively setting up himself against the Russians. Why? And this is the same person who did not attend the Russia African Summit in 2023. I don't think that thing is a good policy for Kenya. I think Kenya should work with the Americans, yes. Work with the Europeans, yes. Work with the Russians. Work with the Chinese. So taking up sides is a bad idea. It's a bad idea. So even as Senegal under fire is trying to get rid of the external military base in his country, the French military base to be precise in his country, it's good. And I completely support that he wants to do it calmly. Let's not embarrass Macron. Macron has been embarrassed. Macron has been embarrassed a lot in Africa over the past 3 years. It's been one devastating blow after another, one devastating blow after another. So please, I like how President Faye is going about it. Because I mentioned earlier, the most important thing is to build Africa. Because when Africa now plays from a place of strength, that is when people will respect you. It's not respect you by being like I said, like Rito, completely pitching his tent to the Americans. That is doesn't make it's a very silly policy. Work with everybody. But the most important thing is to build ourselves. Because when you are strong, when Africa is strong, that is when they will respect us on the global stage. It's not about pitching tent here and there or completely saying, no, it's only the Russians that we work with. That's not the way to play geopolitics. Well, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Should Senegal take it easy and calmly remove French military base in its country? Or should they go all out, guns blazing and say, France, out, out, out? Like they did in Burkina Faso and Mali. Let me know what you think about that. And this, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. And if you even have any other ideas about how we can build Africa, because that's the purpose of this show. In case you have not noticed, we're not just talking about the happenings in Africa. We're also talking about the most important thing is to make Africa strong, because the world is changing. And I want that as this multipolar world is forming, Africa ends up having a, a formidable place on the global stage. And it doesn't happen by wishing, it happens by we working. So let me know, do you have any ideas on how we can build Africa? Let me know in the comment section below. And then don't forget to like this video and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.